Alright, today we're going to be talking about adjectives and verbs. Now, adjectives and verbs are two very important parts of the English language. Adjectives being descriptor words and verbs being action words. And we're going to be talking about why these two types of words are important, how we can recognize them in other people's work, and how we can use them in our own. So first, let's discuss adjectives. So the role of adjectives is to qualify a noun or a noun phrase, giving more information about the object it signifies. So let's discuss why these are important. It's important to describe objects and subjects in our work because when we are writing, adjectives help our reader understand where we are, what we are seeing, and what we are feeling, and what objects are important and what qualities they might have. So in a narrative text, adjectives also help us get a sense of the tone and feeling of a scene, help us paint a picture of the atmosphere and potentially the emotional state of our characters, which is, of course, very important in narrative work. So when talking about adjectives, it's nice to break them down into the five senses, because these are the things that are going to be appealing to our reader's senses. So first, let's discuss sight. So these types of adjectives are going to be anything that our reader can see. So you can describe something's color, you can describe something's tone. So these are words like bluish or dull or bright. We can describe something's size. Something can be large or shining. Something can be dark, candlelit, and dirty. We can also have a description of the sounds of certain things. Things can be loud, quiet, raspy, crackling, buzzing, breaking. So we can talk about how loud something is or the texture of the noises. We can also be discussing taste, so sour, bitter, hot, mouth-watering, sweet, savory. We can see how words like this can help us get a sense of the atmosphere or the tone of a piece of writing. We can, of course, talk about smell, musty, dusty, rotten, sour, sweet, perfumed. All of these help make our writing come alive. Last but not least, we can discuss how something feels. So this can be refer to how something feels to touch, or also how something emotionally feels to a person's insides. So that's rough or coarse, silky, soft, bumpy, waxy, warm. I think you get the idea. So now we're going to get a chance to practice with these words. So let's discuss how we might add our own to a paragraph. So I know that I've given you guys a handout with this paragraph that you are now seeing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read the paragraph out loud, and as I'm doing it, I'd like you to pause the video if you need to, but as I'm reading it, find adjectives that might apply to this story and write them into the blank space that exist throughout the paragraph. So I'm going to read it out loud and try and fill in adjectives in the spaces that are provided. So here we go. There once was a blank boy who awoke on a blank day and found to his surprise a blank bed beneath him. He stuck his arm out and felt a blank sensation, a blank feeling beneath him. He didn't know why it was this way. He hadn't been to the beach that day. The weather outside was too blank for that kind of thing. He went downstairs and found his mom looking blank, like a blank cat. And then he knew he must still be dreaming. Alright, I know that was a bit goofy, but I hope you had some fun with it. Here is my example. I'm going to read it out loud just so you guys get a sense of potentially where I was going. There was once a sweaty boy who awoke on a cloudy day and found to his surprise an invisible bed beneath him. He stuck his arm out and felt the breezy sensation of flying, a wet, windy feeling beneath him. He didn't know what it was about. He hadn't been to the beach that day. The weather outside was too stormy for that kind of thing. He flew downstairs and found his mom looking blue, like some kind of magical cat. And then he knew he was still dreaming. Alright, so I hope you guys now have a better understanding of how adjectives add some life to a paragraph or a text. Now we're going to do the same thing with verbs. So verbs are going to be any kind of action word, anything that describes what something or someone is doing. This can be future, past, or present tense. So we've got running and ran, jumping and jumped, wheezing, breaking, had broken, freezing, froze, crying, flew, flapping, clinging. So these are all things that convey an action, which is important. It's another way of bringing text to life. So we're going to try this out just like we tried out adjectives. And just as before, I know you guys all have the worksheet that I handed out today in class. Please take some time and look that over as I read it out loud. Do the same thing you did with the adjectives. Try and find verbs to fill in the blank spaces in the paragraph. All right, here we go. The girl was always blank. No one knew why, but it was clear that she didn't enjoy a blank, and she wouldn't anytime soon. She was a quiet girl, blank most of her time, blank away, and when she did blank, she would blank because she was scared. Until she was tired, and then she would wait until her eyes blank, and then she would blank. Okay. Hope you guys had some fun filling that one out. Here's my example, just to give you guys a chance to see maybe where my thinking was in writing it. So here we go. The girl was always thinking. No one knew why, but it was clear that she didn't enjoy talking and wouldn't anytime soon. She was a quiet girl, spending most of her time dreaming away, and when she did speak, she would ramble because she was scared, until she was tired, and then she would wait until her eyes fell, and then she would sleep. Alright, and that's that. So, I hope you guys now have a better understanding of how adjectives and verbs bring our text to life. Please bring those worksheets into class tomorrow, and we can share what we came up with other people, and that is going to be what we do. Thank you for watching the video and participating, and I will see you tomorrow.